Just a few days ago, President Biden signed into law the Social Security Fairness Act. That Fairness Act is going to impact over 3 million people. Some people are going to see an increase in their Social Security check from $400, some as high as $1,200. In this video, we're going to explain who will benefit from this and who will not. All right, so we're going to get into a lot of the details about this new legislation, as well as actually some mathematical details I'm going to share with you. But before we do, I thought it'd be helpful to actually look at the history of the original act and the reason it has now been repealed. And so first off, we're dealing with a couple acronyms here called WEP, GPO, and these stand for Windfall Elimination Provision, that's the WEP, and the GPO, Government Pension Offset. And so the reason that we have two different laws here is because this particular issue has to do with people that are receiving retiree benefits from Social Security, meaning it's their own work record. The government pension offset has to do with people that are receiving spousal benefits off of a living spouse, or it could be survivor benefits. And of course, the survivor benefit would be someone that is getting widow or a widower type benefit. Right now, both of these formulas have the same goal, and that is to reduce someone's Social Security check. So it depends on really the source of them pulling those benefits determine what it's going to be called. Okay, but again, they accomplish the same thing. Now, some more history about this. This all began in 1983. At this particular time, Ronald Reagan was our president. Okay, so this goes back over 40 years ago to his presidency. Now, the reason for the WEP and the GPO is because of this. This would be a way to reduce Social Security benefits for those that are actually receiving pension income from employers that did not pay into Social Security or did not take Social Security payments out of that particular person's income. So in other words, they have a pension income that was called non-covered. I'll show you a little bit more about that on a different slide. But that's the reason behind this. And again, I'm not saying whether the reason was right or wrong, good or bad. That's not the issue. But the ones who were proponents of this said that they felt like it because someone was receiving this pension income and they did not pay Social Security taxes, they felt like there ought to be some sort of a penalty imposed. And again, that's what the WEP and the GPO is doing. It's imposing a penalty, reducing the Social Security benefit because of pension income that would be non-covered. All right, let's keep going. So that brings us then to the people that are actually going to be affected by this, or were affected by this for over 40 years now. It would be primarily public sector workers. This would be policemen, firefighters, postal workers, public school teachers. Those people that were in the public sector are the ones that were affected by this reduction in their Social Security benefits. Also, those who work for non-U.S. employers. Again, that would have been pension income not covered by Social Security. And so that's the whole issue with this this system, and that is it's for those that are receiving, again, back to this non-covered pension. So again, they are now receiving pension income. No one paid Social Security taxes on that particular income that came in. The Social Security, there was no Social Security deduction from them, nor a amount that was matched by the employer. All right, so that's what we're talking about. So this is all about non-covered pension. So if someone doesn't have non-covered pension, they're not at all affected by this Social Security Fairness Act. Okay. All right. So with that little background, let's look at the formula that actually is now being adjusted because of this law, and it's the WEP GPO formula. So first off, to really understand the formula, you have to understand exactly how Social Security calculates our Social Security benefits. And what they do is they take our top 35 years, notice, of income that is subject to Social Security taxes. And if someone has this non-covered pension, that certainly would not be included in this number because they, again, didn't pay into Social Security. So it's our top 35 years. Now, as we think about Social Security taxes, I want to explain something. Right now, if you are working for someone, 6.20% of every dollar you make is going into the Social Security system up to a limit, and your employer actually matches that. So you put in, employer puts in. Now, if you're self-employed, you're going to pay the full 12.40%. Now, that percentage is paid in. We call that FICA taxes or self-employment taxes. But there is a limit, and that this year in 2025, it's $176,100. So our income up to that amount, we are paying into the Social Security system. Now, once we reach that, then income above that is not going to be subject to Social Security taxes. It is, by the way, subject to Medicare taxes, but not Social Security. So the whole point is, as they calculate your lifetime earnings, the income they're looking at is that money that was actually subject to those Social Security taxes. So that's the 176.1 right now. Now, what I'm going to show you next, that once we have established this earnings for top 35 years, then what they're going to do is they're going to take that, and by the way, I just did an average. Right now, the average Social Security check's about $2,000, and that means someone's going to be in the range of about $1.68 to $1.7 million over those 35 years. Now, there's people below that. There's certainly people above that as well, but just simply an average. So they take that amount of money, lifetime earnings, top 35 years, divided by 420 months, which is 35 years, and that gives us a number as kind of a basis. And in this example, it's $4,000. And it's called the AIM. And that AIM stands for Average Index Monthly Earnings. Average Index Monthly Earnings. Now, our Social Security check is not that. That's just the basis of where we're going to begin to then calculate our exact Social Security benefit that we're going to receive. So it all starts with the AIM. Okay, so with the AIM, what's happening is this. The AIM, then, they take that number, and again, if you're up here at 3 or 4 million, obviously that's going to be substantially higher. But that's the average right now. So we take the AIM, and they actually apply the AIM to bin points. The reason they call them bin points is because when you look on a graph, we got a point here, and we got a point here, and we got a point here. So on a graph, it looks like they're bending. So they call them bin points, and these bin points change on an annual basis. And the purpose of the bin points is to take the AIM, apply the bin point formula, which I'll show you here in just a minute, and that then is going to equal what is called our PIA, or our primary insurance amount. Primary insurance amount. And this is what we actually would get at our full retirement age. Now, that full retirement age varies. Anyone born between 1943 and 1954 had a full retirement age of 66. But beginning in 1955, the government began to add 2 months to everyone's full retirement age. So in 1955, if that was your birthday, they would be 66 and 2 months. 1956, it was 66 and 4 months. 57, they added 6. 58, they added 8. And then 1959, it was 66 plus 10 months. And then anyone born in 1960 thereafter has a full retirement age of 67. And with this formula, average index monthly earnings applied to bin points gives us our full retirement age. And so if we take at our full retirement age, then that's our PIA. That's what we're going to get in benefit. Now, we can take as early as 62. We're going to lose about 30% if we do that, but again, we can take. So they reduce the amount of our benefit from the PIA 6% a year all the way down to 62. Some people don't take, even at full retirement age, they don't take their full PIA. They can actually grow that, and that grows at 8% a year up until age 70. So we have the basis of the AIM, apply bin points, that gives us our full retirement age benefit. And so what's going to happen now, I'm going to show you an example, because what we have, if I have a non-covered pension, then I am going to have not just a PIA, but I'm going to have a WEP PIA. Windfall Elimination Provision PIA, that's going to be reduced. It's going to be different. If I'm a survivor or spousal, then I'm going to have a government pension offset PIA. All right? And so again, there's going to be a difference. And I'll show you exactly then how they would calculate that reduced benefit if indeed we had that non-covered pension. Hey, if you found this video helpful and if you want to see more Medicare information just like it, then go below, right below the video, and you can give us a thumbs up as well as subscribe to our channel. And every time I put a new video, which is about 2 every week, you'll be notified of that video, and others just like you who need this vital information will get it as well. All right, now as you can see, here's the formula. A lot of numbers on here, but we'll make sense of it. Just stick with me, and let me show you exactly how this is going to be calculated. Now again, what we have here is we have a normal PIA. This means someone always paid into Social Security and they do not have a non-covered pension income. They were not in the public sector, more like the just private sector. That would be a normal PIA, no reduction. And then we have the WEP PIA, windfall elimination provision, own retirement income, GPO, spouse or survivor formulas. All right, so we're going to go back to our original number, which was at $4,000 lifetime earnings divided by 420 months. It gave us $4,000. We're going to apply the bend points to come up with the PIA. So let's look at this first column here. Now, what happens is this. Bend points, remember what I said, they look like on a graph. What this means, the government every year sets bend points. And so this year, 2025, if we were calculating this Social Security benefit, they would take the first $1,226, everybody. First $1,226, and we actually get 90% of that money, okay? 90% of that. And then from our, and by the way, that's that AIM, at 4,000. So the first 1,226, we get 90% of that. And then from 1,226 to up to 7,391, then we're going to actually get 32% of that. Now, in our example, we have an AIM of 4,000. So we're talking about getting 32% between the 1,226 up to the 4,000. Now, if someone's higher, of course, they're going to get that. But it's going to be that amount of money in between those two numbers. We get 32%. And then if we happen to be above the 7,391, now what's going to happen, we're at 7,392, every dollar above that, we're going to get 15% of that. So if someone had an AIM of $9,000, the difference here would have been about, $1,600, and they would have got 15% of that. And what I'm trying to teach you, and really the whole reason behind this law, is that you'll notice that the first $1,226 is heavily weighted. More of the percentage is going to go there because they wanted to make sure, they, meaning Social Security, want to make sure that people that were more average or possibly even lower income were going to get a sizable amount of money. And people who have high income, they're not going to benefit as much from that. All right, so that's the whole purpose of the bend points. All right, so now let's look at a normal PIA. And what we're going to do, we know we get 90% of that, and I'll explain kind of how. And that 90% of the 1,226 was $1,103. That's the beginning of my Social Security benefit calculation. And then we get the difference between 1,226 and 4,000. Again, we get 32% of that. So that comes up to be $887. Now, remember, if I was above 4, that would be a higher amount. But that's the limit here because it stopped at 4,000. And again, we're not above the highest limit, so there's zero there. So they take these two numbers together, first bend point, second bend point. There is no third bend point number. And that gives us a check of $1,990. And again, that would be someone's full retirement age benefit. So if they're turning, let's say they're born in 1960, and that's their PIA, that means that at age 67, that would be the benefit they get. Now, if they take early, 1 year early, they lose 6% of that. 2 years early, they lose 12% of that, all the way down to 5 years early at 62, they would lose a full 30% of their primary insurance amount. So we'll notice here the reduction is not applicable. Why? Because this is a person that did not have a non-covered pension. All right, now that takes us into our second column. Now what you're going to notice about this is it's the same. Okay, that's the same. Even though they were subject to windfall elimination or government pension offset, they didn't have one. Why? Because they had 30 years of covered employment. In other words, they worked for 30 years and they paid into the Social Security system. This would be like maybe a firefighter that retired maybe after 20 or 25 years, has a pension, but that firefighter may have had a second job and paid in that Social Security system all those years. So there's no reduction, even though they could have it, they don't assess it if we have 30 years of Social Security income paid in. So again, that is going to be identical. Now we're going to notice here, now we're going to see a reduction. And again, this is a firefighter, a police officer, postal worker, public school teacher, right? Sometimes nurses, all that. And so this one, though, only had 25 years of other work that was covered fully by Social Security, 25 years. And it's going to be a reduction. And so that first bend point, instead of paying at 90%, now we're only going to get 65% of that. Because at 30, we have no penalty. But if I was at 29 years, it would be 85%. 28 years would be 80%. So every year they go down 5%. So now we've come down a full 5 years. We have 25 years of Social Security income. So our first bend point is now 65%. It has been reduced. Okay, and so again, we get of the 1226, we get 65% of that. So now our first bend point number now is only going to yield to us $797. That's it. Okay, then what happens is the second bend point's the same. There's no adjustment in that. That's identical because it's only the first bend point number that's affected, and that's how they bring about the adjustment is by lowering that. Again, there was no third bend point involved, and so this person actually had a reduction. So this would be their normal. Excuse me, over here. This would be their normal PIA, but this is their WEP PIA. Because they worked for 25 years. So they've lost $306. Now, I do want to clarify something. This difference can never exceed more than 50% of the non-covered pension amount. So let's just make it simple. Let's say someone is getting a pension of $1,000 a month, and this was non-covered, meaning no Social Security taxes paid on that. And so this number here could never exceed more than half of that. So half of that would be $500. And so this is 306. So this is accurate. They would reduce it by 306. Okay? And so let's say someone had a pension of $500 a month, half of that would be $250, then they wouldn't get this full 306 reduction. They would actually just be $250. So they always set maximum on the windfall elimination provision amount. Can be no more than half of what the actual non-covered pension is going to be. So they give you the best of the numbers, basically is what I'm trying to teach you. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, let's talk about someone who has 20 years paid in. Again, they're going to be affected. Again, they have a government job. And so notice what the first bend point is here with only 20 years worth of work. And by the way, it can never go below this. This is the lowest they'll ever go. So it'd be 20 years or anything less than that if we have non-covered a pension. So it's a 40% based upon our bend point. And so that's only going to yield us to our first number, $490, right? And so again, second bend point's the same. There is no third bend point in this number because we don't get above the 7,000. And so that yielded a check for $1,377. So the difference then, it was $613. And so remember what I said, we have a normal PIA and then we have a WEP PIA. And remember, this number can never exceed more than half of our non-covered pension. So let's go back to it. If I have a $1,000 pension coming in that was non-covered, half of that's $500. So they wouldn't reduce me by $613. They'd only reduce my Social Security check by $500. Okay, but let's say that I have a pension income of $2,000. Half of that would be $1,000. And again, they're going to give me the best of both the best of this formula. So my check would go down $613. It would not go down to $1,000. So that WEP PIA could never exceed more than half of the non-covered pension. All right, so that's the math behind it. So here's the whole point. So as we talk about eliminating the WEP, what's happening in these examples? This person's Social Security check, when they actually implement this, is going to go up by the 306. This person's going to go up by $613. In other words, their Social Security is no longer going to be calculated on these reduced bend points. They're going to get exactly what everyone else would get as well. So the penalty is going away. Hey, if you've come to the place where you know you're going to have to make some Medicare decision pretty soon and you want to make the right one of the best ways to do this is to go down below, and you'll see in the comment section there, the very first pinned comment at the top. You can actually click on the link there and you will book a call. And you'll book a call with one of our Medicare guides. All the guides with our company, I have personally trained them. They're professional, they answer all your questions, and they'll show you your Medicare options so that you'll be confident in your decisions. Let's get back to the video. All right, so now that we understand the formula, let's look at what the actual dollars are going to be that people are going to be receiving as an increase. So first off, retirees, again, drawing benefits off our own work record, eliminating that windfall elimination provision, retiree income, is going to affect people on average somewhere between about $360 to $580 a month. So when this is actually implemented, they're going to see this kind of an increase in their check. Now, I also want to let you know that right now they say this is going to affect all of this Social Security Fairness Act is going to represent about 3 million people in total. All right, so a lot of them will be retirees. And then those that are having spousal benefits, remember they're drawing off spousal, this is a living spouse, and they say right now there's about 400,000 people that are going to see on average their check go up by $700 a month. Now look at this one. This would be survivor. Again, this is the windfall elimination provision, the WEP. Here's the GPOs here, survivor and widower benefit. And they say there's, again, about another 400,000 people here that are going to see their check go up, survivor benefits of almost $1,200 a month. So we're going to see some hefty increases because of the elimination of the WEP and the GPO. All right, we just have 2 more questions to go, but let's address this one first, and then I'll go to the last one. And this one is, when will the increases that we just saw take effect? Well, we do know this, that the law was passed by President Biden in 1/5 of 2025. So it is definitely going to happen. However, right now, the Social Security Department is involved in the implementation of this increase. And so it's going to take them a little bit of time. I don't think it's going to take forever, but we know it's law for sure. So it will happen. Again, we don't know the exact details of when we'll see those increases in the checks, but hopefully soon. But one thing is noteworthy, and that is this, that it is retroactive to December of 2023, okay? So they're going to go back a full year, and they're going to calculate what you should have gotten in all of 24. If that was $500 average a month, you're going to get a check for $6,000. And so the point is, they're going to retroactive that for 1 full year. So there'll be a lot of lump sum checks that people are going to be receiving very soon. Okay, and then of course the government's going to let us know exactly when that'll happen, so we look forward to that date. And so the final question is, what do you need to do? Now clearly, if you are not receiving a non-covered pension, then nothing's going to happen for you. You did get a cost of living adjustment this year of 2.5%, but for those of you that are have been affected by this for the last many years, the GPO or the WEP, what do you need to do? Well, here's what's happening. If you're already taking your Social Security benefits, what they want you to do is they want you to do 2 things. They want you to verify your address, so you need to do that. And they also want you to verify your direct deposit information to make sure the account number, routing number, all that is correct. So that's what you need to do. Now, the way you would do that is you do need to have an SSA.gov account, okay? SSA.gov/my account. And if you don't have one, then you need to create an account and go in and do this. If you already have an account, you have login credentials, and you can go to that site and just make sure everything is going to be accurate for those 2 things. Okay. Now, if you're not yet taking benefits, but now you want to apply, then you can also do the same thing. You're going to go to SSA.gov and you're going to apply. Again, create an account or sign in, and you can actually make application online. Very simple process. It doesn't take very long at all, probably 20 minutes or so. All right, and so the whole point is that's all you need to do. And then once Social Security decide exactly when they're going to implement this, we're going to see some nice raises for people's Social Security check.